is Diddy, baby. It's a total checkmate. It's a wrap. Do-do-do. It's a wrap. Yo, it is a total wrap for Diddy. Brendan Call came out. The defense needed to do what had been done. Now listen, we know some people said that they were impressed with what Brian still did, but Brian still doesn't make a difference. He ain't do a lick of damage. He ain't do nothing because, baby, at the end of the day, those jury instructions are coming down, and it looks like it is a RICO for your FICO. Okay, listen, that was supposed to rhyme in my head, but it didn't quite. Anyway, y'all, let's get into this, okay? Okay, first of all, what happened with Brendan Paul? First of all, Maureen Comey finally pulled a defense. Oh my God, what's the most amazing thing that happened? Okay, you guys already know Diddy ain't getting no more jurors dismissed. They are all locked in. It is a pause for candor. It looks like they're going to try to appeal that because they somehow think it's not fair. If this person went off, that can't. It is what it is, right? What's the second surprise that happened? I know you guys heard. Diddy's team went from saying that their case is going to be, remember before they're like, oh, it might go to the 18th. We going down to the mat, baby. Let's go. And I was like, okay, let's go. It's content, right? And then what did they end up doing? They ended up coming back and saying, well, actually, Yana, we're not quite saying that it is going to be until the 18th. It might be 3 to 5 business days. I said 3 to 5 what? They said 3 to 5 trial days. Well, guess what? Mark Agnifilio stood up in front of the judge today and said, Yana, it looks as if our case will rest in 1 to 2 days. They might be in deliberations by Thursday or Friday. You guys, this case is almost over. And people are saying that is a stunning defense, that Diddy thinks he has a strong case. I know you lost your MF and mine. Diddy don't got a strong case. The most he can hope for is a hung jury. And that's if all the nodding to the jury he's been doing has gone into. You guys, this has been checkmate for the defense. There is no defense in the world. Let me just say this, right? Where's all these employees, right? Where's all the people that work for Bad Boy Entertainment that can come out and say, no, what are you talking about? No, what? No, we're not a criminal organization. Where's all these people that can testify that in their normal course of business, they didn't see A, they didn't see B, they didn't help money launder, they didn't help do this. See, here's the thing, right? The issue with the RICO is with Brandon. People are saying, well, Brandon, you need knowledge of RICO. Brandon didn't know that he was in on it. Let me just say this, right? To Diddy's day of defense and day 2. What did people need to start realizing a case is like bricks that you build one by one. Brendan's whole thing was to lock in KK and show the criminal organization. The fact that Brendan sat on that stand after he got arrested for having drugs. Now, some people said, I thought he was a drug mule. Moving personal drugs is still being a drug rule. At the end of the day, you swept a house that Diddy was in, picked up. What? Oh, no, it's still open. Huh? The door? Oh, no habla español. Oh, puerta? What does puerta mean? Puerta, piso? Yeah, acá. Pisa derecha? Yeah. Pisa derecha. Hey, huh? What's that? Hold on, guys. What's up? Yeah, hold on really quick, guys. Really quick. I'm on live. So gorgeous. Okay, so listen, y'all saw me trying to take like 10th grade Spanish. I was struggling. I was doing my best to be like, derecha, piso. Y'all saw me struggling to get that Spanish out. Okay. I made it work. I'm like, literally, I was all 10th grade Spanish. Piso? Derecha? What does Porto mean? Okay, so, but she got in. I was about to put you on hold and make me walk myself over to make her get in to the thing. Okay, so what actually has been, I actually like this angle better. Okay, so what actually has been going on, okay? What did they need Brendan Paul to do? They needed Brendan Paul to tie Diddy and KK into the RICO. First of all, Brendan Paul, let me just put his little testimony in to focus. Brendan Paul comes from a really good, well-to-do family. He got sucked into Diddy stuff, not because he needed the money, because he wanted to be a producer. The fact that his dad helped him build a recording studio in his basement, that ain't something that broke people do. Recording equipment is very, very, very expensive. Barrett Lanier said Detroit is rocking with Tisa. Okay? Now, hold on really quick. Now, so here's the thing. Brendan Paul needs to protect his reputation and his parents' reputation. He needs to get hired again. He cannot be known as Diddy's mule, okay? Now, here's the thing. When they said, what do you think a mule is? I think upon kilos and kilos. No, dumbass. A mule is the dummy because he's trying to get put on for a production deal or make it in the industry that is getting on planes and carrying the rugs for his boss. There were so many assistants that testified that there was a black Gucci bag that stayed up with drugs. Now, here's the thing. People are saying, well, Brendan said he only had a little bit of drugs. Okay, but a little bit is enough. That's still legal. Also, let's not think in the air. You swept the room because you knew he wanted that little bit of Colombian dancing dust. But more importantly, right after that, the prosecution showed text messages of Diddy and KK saying, keep Brendan out of it. Yo, we need some stuff. Don't send Brendan. There was even an audio message that Diddy was like, yo, I thought you said, like, we're not going to use Brendan. Why? Because they knew Brendan was straight-laced, and they knew Brendan would not be the best person to get involved in those antics. So for the freak-off nights, the very few times he did it, it was only because the regular assistants that usually set up the freak-off nights and do anything, they were on a birthday, they were on vacation, so Brendan had to go. But they had whole conversations about, why are you sending Brendan? I thought you said. So the fact that Brendan says he never saw anything criminal, they kept you out the loop. On top of that, Brendan, you got arrested for doing something criminal. I don't care. People think, oh, if I was a mule, it was kilos. No, you moved the drugs for your boss, and you personally moved it. Last time I looked, that's what RICO is. Connie Dunlap. Also, they're saying, but Brendan didn't know he was doing anything illegal. If Brendan didn't know he was doing anything illegal, then why did he lie when he got arrested and said that those weren't his boss's drugs, those were his drugs? And why did he take the fall for his boss if he didn't know he was doing anything illegal? If he didn't know he was doing anything illegal, why was he even doing that? If he didn't know he was doing anything illegal, why were you buying drugs from One Stop or whoever in the neighborhood dealer instead of going to CVS? If you didn't know you were doing anything illegal, why were you... Hey, what's up? Hey, looking gorgeous. I'll see you.
Tell him.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, beautiful. I'll see you Monday. Okay. If you didn't know that you were doing anything illegal, then why were you getting painkillers from One Stop and not your CVS? If you didn't know you were doing anything illegal, then why was everything hidden? Why were you being sneaky about it? And why wasn't you telling your good Miss West family what you really did for Diddy if you weren't doing anything illegal? But okay. Donya Lyle said, isn't today day 26 of trial? I was hoping he'd get the book, decorative apple, and baby oil thrown at him today. What did he do? What did he do on day 26, Demon? No, today's day 27 of the trial. Don't forget, we've had a bunch of... Today's day 27 of the trial, by my count. Or is it day 26? It don't matter. It's day something. Just go with it. It's all vibes. 26, 27, don't worry. Diddy probably hoping it's day one so he can stay out of permanent jail. Listen, I will say this, right? I will say this. To think that there's going to come a time where Diddy's going to beg to be in the MDC, and that's when he goes to actual real lockup. Again, just because Brendan and Brian still said, we didn't think it was illegal, does not mean it's not illegal. Also, really quick, speaking of illegal, it should be illegal to have such cute merch. You guys, you've been asking for merch. It's a great way to support. It's a great way to fund my trip out here to make sure I can stay till the end, right? I'm just saying, right? No guilt, right? But what should be illegal is having merch this cute. Listen, we have notebooks, we have tote bags. If you don't like this, we have mugs. It says, Yana, Diddy did it. It says, Yana, Diddy did it. Listen, all your favorite things, it is there. And we have really cute merch too. So if you want the logo, it is on tank top, t-shirts, whatever. Just go over to my merch store. It'll be linked in there. Can I actually talk? Can I talk? hold on. Let's see if I can pin this. Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I was going to start a poll. Hold on. Let me ask. Will you buy my merch? And paste. Okay. I don't know. Okay, forget it. This is too much technology for me. This is too much for me. Okay, so Donya, it could be 26th, 27th, baby. We are doing vibes. Also, Dee said, thanks for keeping your feet on the ground. Stay safe. Thank y'all so much, okay? But yeah, it should be illegal. Speaking of illegal, okay? So anyway, right? Okay, so anyway, we're asking the people that got arrested whether they think it was crime. I mean, why don't we just start going and polling saying, do you think murdering somebody was illegal? No, they had it coming. All right, that's the one thing. But also with the whole Brendan Paul thing, right after that, they brought a summary witness. Because here's the thing, whether or not somebody thinks what they're doing is illegal, you had knowledge that you knew constructive, or you should have known actual knowledge of what you were doing. It fell flat. Oh, Mana Gaske 255 said tremendous. Oh, thank you. Tremendous respect. Thank you for the generous super chat. And admire your journalistic integrity and love the delivery too. Thanks so much. Hugs from Monaco. Thank you so much, right? Okay, so let's get into this, okay? So what else did they prove? They went there and showed the hotel records. By Brendan testifying, he got immunity. It wasn't to show that Brendan was the evil mastermind. It was to show that Diddy and Christina Quorum knew they were engaging in criminal behavior and that Christina Quorum played a big role in the RICO. Hear me out. I do think KK is going to be charged independently outside of Diddy. Mary from Virginia, USA, thank you so much. Now, what the real thing I want to talk about is how do people really honestly think that Diddy's confident and that he's proven his case where he literally said he's only going to have a case 1, maybe 2 days a week. His whole defense that was supposed to be 4 weeks got shortened to 5 days. Now he's saying that they think they might wrap by Wednesday at the latest. There might be jury instructions on Thursday. And literally, they'll wrap on Wednesday. There might be closing arguments on Thursday. The jury might be actually delivered the instructions by Friday afternoon. This has been a stunning turn of events. Let me tell y'all something. The government has 100% proven the RICO. They've also proven sex trafficking. Let me tell y'all a little bit about sex trafficking, okay? There is, Monegasque, thank you so much. Welcome to the Tattletales family. So listen, this is what you need to actually remember. You only need 1 count of sex trafficking. That's it, just 1 count. You don't need the stars, you don't need the moon, you don't see, all you need is 1 count. What does that count mean, okay? It is much like I said the other day. If you sleep with your husband or wife, they, them, whatever you're into, and they're down with it, if there's 1 time that you push up on them, okay, and they don't want it, that is indeed great. It's the same thing with sex trafficking, okay? Let me put it into this. What Diddy's team is trying to say is, okay, yeah, I tried to you, but oh my God, it was just 1 time. In order for you to be guilty of attempting murking, it only needs to be 1 time. In order for, yeah, I tried to, but it was only 1 time. That's all you need. Now let's talk about the different things and actually add it up into how it actually shows that the prosecution, they're about to arrest on Monday, but they have 100% proven their case, okay? One second. Okay, so we have sex trafficking by force. When you say they need 1 incident, people act like you need 100 people in the basement. You don't need 100 people. You don't even need 100 times. All you need is 1 time, okay? All you need is 1 time where you grabbed a person and used coercion, force, or fraud to have them engage in a commercial sex act in which anything of value was traded. Doesn't need to be money. It only needs to be something of value to the person paying for that act. What do we have? We have Cassie, who, under force, when she tried to run from the room and Diddy dragged her back in. When she tried to say, I don't want it, and she was throwing up, and Diddy still made her perform, right? Jane, where after Diddy beat her up, he literally stormed around saying, "You not ruining my effing night. You not ruining my effing night. You better take this pill, suck a D, do whatever you gotta do. You better take this pill," right? That is under force. Didn't need to be 100 times. It don't matter if she said yes 80 other times. At that time when she was saying, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, when Cassie was screaming, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. At that time, right? At that time, 100%, that was one count for each of them for sex trafficking. You only need one time, one count. Again, why are the laws like this? Because the law knows, right? Usually when people get caught stealing, it's not their first time stealing. When people get caught attempted murking, it's not the first time they did attempted murking. Just like with Diddy, you got caught this, and we caught you beating Cassie on camera, but it's not the first time you beat, you mistreated, you tricked, you did whatever. But let's just get into it by force. So, sex trafficking by force. We have the force. You beat up Jane, you beat up Cassie. You made them ingest rugs. The rugs were illegal, by the way, okay? You had your assistant transport the rugs. You had your assistant transport the drugs across state lines. Again, we're getting into predicate, but let's keep on sex trafficking, right? You had them go, and they got, by force, they literally went and there was a commercial sex worker. Now, the commercial sex worker does not have to be the sex trafficking victim. The person that engages in sex with them, who is the women, right? They are the ones that also are a part of this. Now, so there's somebody, right, under force that engages in a commercial sex act, okay? And then under that commercial sex act, that's a woman sleeping with the hired help. The person that made it all was the person getting something of value. Who was that person? It was the man in the burqa from the neck up, booty butt, naked from the neck down, standing in the corner, diddling with his Tootsie Roll. Don't forget, you guys, catch me on Nancy Grace. All the links to everything I've been in and going to be on are in the comments, okay? So right now we have 2 counts of force. It didn't need to be continuous. Just like rape doesn't need to be continuous. Let me stop before I get demonetized. Just like rape doesn't need to be continuous. All that needs to happen is it only happened once. Now, here's the thing. Why do they only say it only has to happen once? Because you know how I know, especially after seeing this Diddy trial, right? It's hard to prove things that happened. It's hard. Victims don't keep logs. There's all these messages. That's why they say if you can just prove it happened one time, that's enough. Because even in a murder case, it's hard to prove stuff, okay? April Brown said Diddy is a predator. He's going to jail and shit. Now, April, heavy on that. It also hasn't escaped my attention, the way people act like Diddy's not going to end up hurting someone if he's left out. The way he was stomping and beating these women, he could have broke someone's vertebrae. Cassie still has brain damage from what he did to her. Diddy just accidentally, while he's stomping someone, can make somebody paralyzed for life. Who knows what that man's done, okay? Now, okay, cool. So anyway, right, federal law, okay? Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, okay? Now, what do you need for the Mann Act offenses? You need to prove that you did transportation for prostitution. What did they do in these summary witnesses? They proved that there were hotel records, there were flight logs, and then there were text messages to confirm. So under the Mann Act, you have proven transportation for prostitutes, right? Moving someone across state or foreign borders with intent to engage them in prostitution. They had that with Cassie moving across state, and I believe that, what's her name? Jane proved that when they brought them to Turks, it was also international waters. Ugly Rat said, my wife loves the show, and I'm always in trouble for not coming up with surprise gifts. I'm gonna get your merch. Oh, thank you. I'm helping you, and you're helping me. Oh, thank you, Ugly Rat. I appreciate that. I hope she likes it. I hope she likes it. Listen, I want y'all to buy the merch. But don't give her a mug for her birthday. But you know what? Maybe if it's part of something larger, put some flowers in there or something. That carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. Honeybee Therapy, thank you so much for the super chat, all right? Let's keep going. Since people don't see the sex trafficking. Coercion or enticement using persuasion. What was the persuasion? Do it to me, just to Jane. Just come, just do it one last time. And as soon as you do it one last time, we're gonna go on vacation, baby. It's gonna be me and you. I'm gonna take you public. I'm gonna show you off. It doesn't matter whether you think it's something of value. All you had to do is use persuasion. Also, with Cassie, just do it. Remember how Cassie, they said that she would get music played during the freak offs of what she wanted to release? Just do it. I promise your album's coming out. So it must be under persuasion. Threats. If you don't do this, I'm going to release your freak off tapes to your parents, to your friends, to your baby daddy. He made those threats of blackmail to release those freak off tapes to Jane Doe, and also not only to Cassie, but also the people around Cassie. To the point of they all have texts running to KK saying, he said he's gonna release my tapes. This isn't cool. KK, do something. And KK will come and be like, wow, this is the first time hearing of this. Girl, shut up. Or coercion. To cause someone, adult or minor, to travel or use interstate communication to engage in prostituting, okay? That has a mandatory minimum of 10 years up to life. They also use coercion. If you don't do this, you better find someplace else to leave. If you don't do this, I'm going to not release your albums. If you don't do this, I'm going to do that. Kira, thank you so much. Let's also not forget that coercion is also guilt. Yo, if you tell anyone, I'm gonna get locked up. The police are calling me. Didn't he do this with Cassie? I'm gonna get locked up. The police are calling me. They're gonna take me over. I'm gonna be arrested. Oh my God. Didn't he do this to Jane? You're gonna take me away from my kids. Sorry. You're gonna take me away from my kids. You're gonna take me away from my family. If they find out, my career is gonna be over. That is also part of coercion, using guilt. Or if you say something bad is going to happen to me. That has a mandatory minimum of 10 years up to life, okay? There's also the online facilitation of prostitution. It targets anyone using online platforms to promote or facilitate prostituting. That's up to 10 years if facilitating one person, up to 25 years if involving 5 or more people, or reckless facilitation of trafficking. We all know that Diddy had reckless, he used over 5 people, and he used online platforms, Cowboy and Angels, to book, and he facilitated in the prostitution by actually being the person. Again, up to 25 years already just off of these 2 counts. Diddy is looking at least a minimum of 40 years in prison, okay? Now, federal law does apply for coercion. Let's also get into sorry, just sending a message off. Let's also get into the fraud stuff, right? Let's see. 1 second. Okay. By fraud. Now this is very, very important. Knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, translate, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, or solicit by means of force, fraud, or coercion in cases involving a person to engage in a commercial sex act. What is fraud? Because this is what a lot of men are acting like they can't understand, and a lot of people. Monica Howard, thank you so much. You said, thank you for your amazing coverage. Thank you. Also, Margarita Folster said, sending love from Germany. You are the best. Thank you. And Miss B said, hello, Beauty and Brains. Great work. I'll be ordering your merchandise. Thank you so much. Okay, fraud. In this context, what is fraud? False promises, e.g., offering a modeling job, an album, legitimate employment, or relationship or love. Did he not trick Jane into how long, saying that as long as she does this freak off, then it'll just be them and then they're going to have this, then they're going to have that, then it's finally going to be them. This is the fraud. Oh my God, Emily Gonzalez said clients and I are tuned in. Emily's Lux Beauty Bar. Make sure y'all show some love to Emily's Lux Beauty Bar. Is this not what he did to Jane? Is it not what he did to Cassie? Let's also not forget, Cassie was an employee. She was in that studio not as a gift. She was in that studio because she was one of the only females signed to Bad Boy, and she was working. She was never paid for her time. She has over 150 songs that were never put out. What was the false promises? Diddy promised her album to be released, promised Jane that they would be in a relationship, misrepresenting conditions, e.g., lying about pay, freedom, housing, or legality. Also misrepresenting conditions. What did he do for Jane? He would tell her, listen, baby, I know you're mad that I took young Miami on vacation and showed her off. Come to Turks with me. We're going to have our own thing. It's just going to be us, I promise. And then you get her there. You put a pill down her throat. You wait till she's feeling freaky and that X or the Molly hit. And then all of a sudden you're like, yo, you want to bring in a Smex worker? And you have the Smex worker waiting a villa over. Because the Smex worker can't just show up at Turks. The whole time you misled her. You tell her, oh my God, it's just going to be me and you for a date. And then you wait till that Molly hits. And then you're like, yo, you wanna bring Dawn? You wanna do this? You wanna do that? That is fraud, misrepresenting conditions. She agreed to sleep with you and just you, and he kept bringing other people in. Nicole Madsen said, God bless you. Thanks for the great generosity and advocacy for victims. I can't wait to see the investigative podcast. Oh, thank y'all. Also, thank you so much, Nicole. Okay, so also withholding or distorting information, e.g., lying about something and the consequences, withholding or distorting information. Now, I don't really think he did that. Well, he did withhold information about who would be at these hotel nights, but I don't think he distorted, unless you can say that he tried to use Cassie to stay quiet, guilt about he's about to get locked up, when he knew that they had bribed and everything, and he used that to bring her closer. Also, pretending to be someone else, a false identity, persona to manipulate trust. I don't think he did that. But again, what counts as fraud, it could include any of those things. It does not have to include all of those things, okay? What are the key legal elements? Again, the defendant, who is Diddy, knowingly recruited, he did do that they have all the text messages on the chart. He recruited prostitutes, right? Hookers, right? He transported or had his minions or people at his behest, and he was the one that ended up paying for all of it, transported a person. He did this for the commercial worker and for the girl for the purpose of causing them to engage in a commercial Smex act. He did that for both. And that fraud, and he did that for both, was used to cause or maintain participation, okay? Now, again, examples of fraud-based Smex trafficking cases. A trafficker posted fake modeling ads, luring women across state lines and pressuring them into prostitution. Again, did Diddy post fake things about helping Cassie with her music and never released an album even though they were together for 10 years? A trafficker promises legal immigration status or marriage, but instead forces the person into commercial Smex work. Did he not promise Cassie marriage, even Cassie Combs? And someone pretends to be a legitimate agent, boyfriend, talent scout, but it's all front for the trafficking operation. Joy Angeli said, I hate to say this, but Diddy's mom is a root. Listen, he learned that somewhere. Listen. And here's another thing that people don't realize. If fraud, you know how Diddy's team is saying, and this is why they want to rewrite the jury instructions. Diddy's team is saying, no, you don't understand. They wanted it. They could. Ah, thank you. You know, they're like, no, we wanted it. They wanted it. The girls wanted it. We saw the text messages. Look at the video. Don't they look happy? They wanted it, right? Ugh, they're so gross. The fraud with Smex trafficking does not have a consent defense. Saying I consent, if the fraud was used to gain consent for the Smex work, the victim's agreement does not legally count as legal consent. So if he used fraud to get them there, the album, the this, the that, and then they literally got high because they thought it was just going to be them, for Jane. And for Cassie, she thought, oh, after this or whatever, even if she says, yes, baby, I wanted it, if you use fraud to even get them in that situation, consent is not a defense, okay? Nest Dog said, thank you for your hard work. I love your coverage. Yes, F Bad Boy and a staff, a record label, and an MF and crew. Listen, Tupac was legendary for that. Oh, also really quick, I almost forgot, right? Or maybe I'll actually do this. You know that Diddy, this is so weird, inside Diddy's depravity, do you know that he also got charged like $8,000 in damages because they took pictures and they said they found body fluid smeared all over the floor, all over the couch, all over everything? Y'all, it's very, very disgusting. What is going on in that? Listen, again, exactly. But again, when people say, now let's talk about the RICO. Hold on. Listen, what about the federal RICO charges, right? RICO makes it a federal crime to participate in a criminal enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. The idea is to go after organized crime, including trafficking rings, gangs, or cults. You can make an argument that Diddy ran a cult that commit multiple crimes as part of an ongoing business conspiracy. Let me tell you something. I hear what y'all are saying and things about Brandon Paul. I don't give a damn what Brandon, listen, I don't give a damn what Brandon says. He's trying to not look like he was some dumb Midwestern boy that turned into a drug mule and literally set up freak-offs and all this other stuff and went into a life of depravity just because he wanted to get put on. He was trying to be a Diddy. Anyway, well, I don't want to say it like that, but he was trying to come up in the industry just like Diddy did, okay? They said under trafficking, right? The sex trafficking is defined as a racketeering activity. So if someone operates or is associated with an organization or group that commits at least 2 acts of racketeering within 10 years, called a pattern. Again, you just need 2 acts in 10 years. You just need to do the sex trafficking 2 times. You need to do kidnapping, arson, robbery, kidnapping, beating up, violence. 2 acts in 10 years. It can be prosecuted under RICO. What is the elements of a RICO charge? An enterprise, a group, formal and informal, with a common purpose. We already know who that is, Clones Global, because they were paying for everything. A pattern, at least 2 racketeering acts, right? And the defendant, Diddy, is connected or participated in the enterprise through those acts. Not only is he connected, participated, but he is the owner, okay? Criminal RICO has up to 20 years per count, or life if predicate offenses allow. Sex trafficking does bump it up to life, right? Happy Margarita M said, thank you for the tea. Cheers from Texas. Thank you so much. Asset forfeiture. Government can seize proceeds and property connected to the enterprise. Star Island 1 and 2, I'm just saying. And civil RICO. Victims can sue for 3 times damages plus attorney's fees. Diddy's about to go bankrupt. Again, hold on. Okay, so also, one second. So what are the predicate crimes? Federal crimes is just underlying criminal crimes. That could be robbery. It could be kidnap. It could be bribery. Did they not get Eddie Garcia to say that they bribed him for $100,000 in order to stop that video? What was the whole point of the video? They did not want the cops involved. Bribery is a crime. Bribery to stop with a lawful investigation or to do anything is a crime. They 100% bribed Eddie Garcia. That is one act, and it happened in the last 10 years. It's one act, and again, it happened in the last 10 years. The funny thing is, if this had happened in 2026, Diddy might be off of the hook because it's one act in 10 years. They have that bribery, okay? What else do they have, okay? Wait, hold on. I gotta plug up my phone. My phone's about to go dead. Hold on, y'all. Let's see if I can save this before the live feed goes to hell. Okay, we're good. Okay, so they have that one act of bribery. They also have an act of arson. Did they not show that Kid Cudi's car got blown up? Now, you can argue they can't prove it, but he said he was going to do it. Everybody knew he was going to do it. It happened, and he demanded to meet with them. We have a trespass, which is what they did with Kid Cudi. That's not really a criminal act, trespass, unless it's criminal trespass, but I don't think they actually called him. What else did they have? Kidnapping. What is kidnapping? When you restrict someone from leaving or you make them stay in a place against their will. Cassie being in that hotel when her face was being iced up and she kept saying she wanted to go home and nobody would let her go home, that is kidnapping. Diddy grabbing Capricorn Clark at gunpoint and making her drive, right? Making her drive to show him where Kid Cudi's house, and then holding her until Cassie switched over and took Capricorn Clark's place. That is kidnapping. It's actually even ransom, okay? That is actually kidnapping, all right? There's a text message. Everybody knows it happens. He settled with her, this, that, and the third. You have your counts of kidnapping. When Cassie tried to escape the freak-off, which they can argue she was being smex trafficked, right? Smex trafficking, that's another predicate act. When they act like when she was being shot, when he grabbed her and tried to drag her back and wouldn't let her leave, that was also a case of kidnapping. We have extortion. When he said, if you don't come back, I'm going to send, he told his mom, that he wants $20,000 to get the money back. This is after Cassie said that he said he's going to release the tapes. The mom and dad got a home loan and actually sent that to Diddy in order to stop and to leave the daughter. That was extortion. It doesn't matter that Diddy sent the money back. Once he received that money, to me, that looks like extortion, okay? Blackmail, another predicate crime. Did he not try to blackmail Cassie and Jane Doe with their Smex tapes if they did not comply and go and S a D? Did they not do that? Okay? On top of that, right? On top of that, did they not? Okay? Did they not also, let's say, extortion, bribery? What else did he do? He's done so much. Oh, obstruction of justice. That secret hidden phone that he said was so good for him, he was trying to tell KK, he was supposed to turn that phone in under a search warrant and the ongoing investigation. Because he lied about having the phone, because he didn't turn it over, because he didn't do that, it 100% turned into obstruction of justice, withholding key information. Doesn't matter whether it vindicated you or not. I don't think it vindicated him, but it doesn't matter. The point is you tried to obstruct justice. That is a predicate crime. Is the RICO coming into order? Let's also not forget the way Brendan was like, I don't feel like I was a mule. Thank you, Mr. Mule, for telling me you don't think you're a mule, right? But when you look at Brendan and when you look at what happened with and all the assistants and even Jane, who I think 2 times KK gave her a pack of pills to transport, right? A huge pack of pills to actually transport 2 times, in addition to all the private assistants that had to fly in early and set up for hotel nights, including a bunch of illegal drugs. That is transportation of drugs across state line. Transportation of drugs. It doesn't matter that you aren't Pablo Escobar and you weren't moving bricks. You were moving pills. It doesn't matter. Let's also not forget how Tassie testified that she had to go and start getting prescriptions for Diddy because he had gotten so many pills in the Miami area that no doctor would actually give him anything. Let's also not talk about what he did to Bonna, hanging her over the balcony. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to be proven. Bonna does have a civil case. We'll see what happens with that. It did actually happen. The feds were arguing to get Rob Holiday's phone call actually admitted so they could prove that it actually happened and Diddy tried to settle. Again, is the RICO coming into focus? Is everybody seeing what I'm saying? Is everybody seeing? Dr. Flores said feds got Al Capone on less. Diddy is going down. Again, everybody has, and thank you, Dr. Flores, everybody has too big a standard. You only need to break. That's like saying, I got caught stealing, right? Okay, Now, if you get an asshole judge that throws the book at you, fine. But when you're caught stealing, you can maybe make an argument, it was my first time, but you're going to get a punishment. The fact that you say, I don't know, I didn't think it was stealing, I bet you are still things. Stealing's not an actual good point because they do show leniency. But how about this, right? How about this? Sorry, guys. How about this, okay? When you get caught attempted murdering, to actually say this is my first time I did attempted murder, this is my first time I tried to get, that doesn't really hit very well. They don't care. It doesn't matter what's your first time or your 40th time, you are going down. That is what we are seeing right now in the Diddy trial, right? Listen, exactly. And the fact that Diddy's whole defense is, I didn't know, and Diddy's team is all saying they didn't know, and even Brendan, again, everybody, because Brendan's young, and he comes from a good family. Hold on, I got something in my eye. Because Brendan's young and he comes from a good, quote unquote, good family with money, everybody is giving that man, giving him, that man, Brendan is a man, a pass. You knew what you were doing is illegal. You knew you were engaging in illegal activity. That's why you lied and said it was yours out of loyalty, because you didn't want your boss to get in trouble. Because prior to that, you thought if you stayed on Diddy's good side, it would come back to you. Hold on. You thought if you stayed on Diddy's good side, it would actually come back to you. When you saw it didn't, and when you saw you were in deep trouble, that's when you flipped on Diddy. The fact that Brendan, who was a part of this, who now wants to walk away like he's Scott Clean, and I'm just a good kid and I didn't know, and they're letting him sit on the stand talking about I don't think it was criminal. I don't think it was crime. Sir, you just got arrested for criminal stuff and you were one of the main people. So now you want us to believe that that you didn't even think it was all for his personal use. You just said that you weren't the plug, and they shared messages and phone texts that actually said that you weren't the plug. And we have a million other assistants testifying that they spent buku money all the time setting up these Wild King nights and these free calls. You have Jane saying that she was a mule that moved drugs twice. Again, I'm sick of sitting here letting these criminals tell us what is legal and what's not legal. I don't care what Brian Still said. I don't care who believes it. I really honestly don't. At the end of the day, in the eyes of the law, Brendan is a criminal who literally did criminal actions on behalf of his criminal boss, and that's all there is to it. Dory P, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. And also, always Divine 74 said, keep doing your thing, baby boo. Listen, Diddy is done. Diddy is going to jail, and Diddy's defense is only going to be one day. That means that they are standing on what they did with the cross-examine all these years, and baby, they ain't do ish with the cross-examine. Again, there's a difference between on social media and in the eyes of the people, what's criminal, and the eyes of a judge. You might not think that having that much coke is no big deal because it's part of a lifestyle. Walk into a federal courthouse with that much coke and they'll let you know if it's a lifestyle and if it's illegal. I dare anybody walk into a federal district court with the amount of drugs that Brendan was like, I don't see what the big deal is, and see if that's not a big deal. I'm just saying. Doreen Rankin, thank you so much for the super chat. And Carly for now said Rico lie. Yes, it is Rico. Yana, they got Diddy dead to rights. Again, this is the last thing I'm going to say, right? Fulton, Brian Still, and again, they're all great attorneys, but what they've done has been largely ineffective because the feds are known not for overcharging. They get 1, 2, maybe 5, it doesn't matter. Heavyweight charges. They can put you away for life, and they make sure they have everything they need to put you away. And as much as people are saying, I don't see it, we're not asking you to recreate a scene out of Taken or Hostage or a scene out of Narcos. What you did was illegal. It's against the law. And like you said, they got Al Capone for less. And baby, it's Diddy's time to go. Again, Diddy is a danger. Diddy is a menace. Dr. Flores said, Brendan sheds light on the twisted mindset of the entertainment industry. Hope feds do super crackdown on all. Wake up, Hollywood. I know Fat Joe was it. Arlathea Washington, welcome to the family. Baby, it is Rico. It is Rico City. And baby, we love to see it. Again, am I God? Of course not, right? Do I actually know what's going to happen? I'm giving you my best guess, but I am telling you that Diddy is not getting not guilty. The most he can hope for is a hung jury with the holdout Isla Weinstein. And if it is a hung jury, he's going to have to park it in jail he's going to have to park himself in jail until what? Until he comes up for his new court date. And the feds aren't going to make the same mistakes. But I'm telling you right now, especially given the jury instructions, Diddy is going down. He is going to be guilty. He's going to jail for a very, very long time. And it don't matter what Brian Steele, it don't matter what Brendan, literally being like, oh, I didn't think so. You think just because you look like Howdy Doody and you are like a Midwest white boy from like a really good family that this is somehow taking us away from the fact of, sir, you were in guard and you and how old are trying to say you didn't know, but you hid it for your boss? Brandon, go ahead with that. Kia Jordan said, do your thing, T's. I've been watching since day one of time. Thank you so much, Miss Jordan. I appreciate it. Also, what's up, Valentine TV said, Mom is okay. 874 subs, and you are talking facts. Thank you so much. Thank you. Listen, listen, weirder things have happened, but in my heart of hearts, Diddy is not going to be not guilty. Y'all smoking crack if y'all think. But you know what? I will say this. Let the Diddy bots and the Diddy propagandists keep telling us that Diddy's going to be not guilty, because it's going to be even sweeter when they hand down that guilty charge. And Diddy's highly paid legal team is going to start screaming that they want to appeal, that they want to do this. Run that fool's pockets and get that money on appeal. And even on appeal, you still going to be sitting there in jail, just like Harvey Weinstein is. Just like Harvey Weinstein is, baby. Guilty as charged. He will stay in jail. They can do whatever. The only thing he can hope for is that Trump pardons him. I don't think, well, what's going on right now with everything Trump's going, I don't think Trump, this is not the time. You just had Elon saying you were on Epstein. You see what's going on with Brown. I don't think that Trump has the time. I don't think he would, because I don't think he even messes with Diddy. But honestly, when it comes to that stuff, I do not, listen, if you are MAGA, right, you're going to have to identify yourself. But if you are MAGA, do you think that Trump will pardon? And if he does, do you think that the MAGA supporters will go for that? Because people are acting like I've been all over. Of course, I've been in libertine chat rooms. You know, I'd be on Reddit on my burner account looking to see what everybody's saying. I've been in MAGA chat rooms. I've been in left, Democrat. Every chat room I've been with been there on my burner about Diddy, it has united the country. Everybody, left, right, this, that, center, moderate, libertarian, whatever you want to claim. Rupp just said, everybody wants Diddy to go down. So I actually don't see politically how the Republicans can stand being the people that pardon Diddy. Diddy's going to have to at least park it until, if Trump released him, until Trump gets out of office. Well, when he's on his way out, he doesn't care anymore. All right? I just don't think that Trump is actually going to pardon Diddy. Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? How you doing? Oh, thank you. So it's like, I just don't think, right? Listen, somebody said that Brandon find a suit to fit. High waiters are in style. That's his style. At least he put some socks on. The other day I saw him, he was high-waisted. High waiters, but he had no socks on. I think he had like the little baby booty socks on, but his ankles looked a little red, like it was chaffed. I think that's why he put black socks on today, because it was like, you know how sometimes you put on with no socks and like it just hits your ankle at the wrong point. But anyway, do y'all think, right? Listen, I don't think at the end of the day that Trump is actually going to pardon Diddy. And if Trump doesn't pardon Diddy, and let's also not forget that Diddy might be looking at state charges in New York City. He might be looking at state charges in Florida. I would say he might be looking at state charges in... I think he might be looking at state charges in LA, but LA seems to be in Diddy's pocket, so I actually don't think that he's actually going to do that. But we will actually see. In any case, y'all, listen, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to get out of here. I have to go film something really quick for Nancy Grace. I'm going to get out of here, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.